What are some horrifying things to consider when thinking about aliens? Aliens could do to us what we did to wolves, selectively breeding a once noble species in grotesque ways, transforming us into the equivalent of bulldogs, poodles, dachshunds, etc. One theory, from Stephen Hawking, is that if they are sufficiently advanced that aliens may treat us like ants. When we build dams, we don't worry about whether or not a dam will cause an anthill to be flooded out. Similarly, a species that is advanced as far beyond us as we are beyond ants might seek to alter our planet or even our solar system to their advantage without giving consideration to what may happen to us. The possibility of them already knowing about us but us not knowing about them. We have no idea if they know. They could be committing space espionage right now and we wouldn't know about it. This reminds me of the dark forest theory. Like hunters in a dark forest, a civilization can never be certain of an alien civilization's true intentions. In summary, all life desires to stay alive. There is no way to know if other life forms can or will destroy you if given a chance. Lacking assurances, the safest option for any species is to annihilate other life forms before they have a chance to do the same. There is absolutely nothing on planet Earth that the aliens can't find in more abundance elsewhere. Precious metals, gases for fuel, assuming they don't have zero-point energy or some shit that lets them get power from vacuum, and even water are all available in space and you can get this resources with zero resistance. So I don't think they would come here for any resources, unless they want our biosphere, which, for all we know, could be abundant in the galaxy. If aliens do show up one day but turn out to be hostile, there is absolutely nothing we can do to stop them. If they have been coming here, if you believe in that sort of thing, they have been doing so for a very long time. They know everything about us, including our weaknesses and how to exploit them. Meanwhile, they are a species capable of FTL travel. Wiping us out would be as simple for them as flipping on a light switch. No jet-to-ship dogfights, no magical weak point to hit, no third-act secret weapon to save us. Just one press of that button and everything turns white and then black. So if they do come to Earth, they would need a damn good reason to. If our luck is truly awful and they actually want something from us, we'd better pray that it's something that we don't have to fight over because we wouldn't stand a chance. For all we know, aliens might not be the little green men that fly around in flying saucers and destroy us with laser beams. They could be an interstellar pathogen that show up one day and silently and effortlessly kills us all without warning. Our immune systems would have no idea what hit them. There was a book called Blindsight that explores a cool idea of aliens where they're not your typical little green men. The premise is pretty much what if humanity is unique? What if intelligent life is common, but sentience is not? That music, art, literature is a uniquely human trait. That space is filled with cold, emotionless, genius life. To me that idea is kinda horrifying. Our human concepts of morality and empathy are heavily influenced by our mammalian biology. Imagine that aliens land, and instead of having nice little family units, their species lays clutches of thousands of eggs at a time. They don't form strong bonds. Life is essentially expendable for them. They see us weeping over a dead child and they have literally no frame of reference for understanding why this would be upsetting. I'm not saying all aliens will be like this, but some definitely could be. What if it ends up the other way around? What if we end up being able to travel between the stars, and we find some aliens that aren't as technologically advanced as we are? I could easily see us being imperialist invaders, committing the atrocities we've committed against each other on an entire species so we could have a second planet with an oxygen atmosphere and easily attainable natural resources. That would be truly horrifying. I mean, would anyone be surprised at us being the monsters all along? The assumption that they come in groups in some flying saucer. For all we know, they might just appear in hordes of thousands if not millions all across the planet. Also, we like to think that aliens will share the same way of thinking as humans, i.e. reasoning, emotions, etc. But the only reason we think that is because that's the only thing we are familiar with. Aliens might have completely different emotions or thought processes than us, but we won't know because we never encountered them before. It's like the fourth dimension. At this point, it's pretty well established what it is, but most of us, if not all, have no clue how to visualize or properly explain it. Well, for us at least, the best way I think that we can evolve to be spacefarers is to become energy/hardware-based beings. If you take the squishy human body out of the equation and have us uploaded as digital consciousnesses, or a collective consciousness, then you eliminate a lot of the problems of deep space travel, resources, radiation, size of spacecraft, reproduction, acceleration/deceleration, etc. With feasible technology you could literally beam human consciousness vast distances at the speed of light to preceded automated factories that produce what we need from local resources, robotic bodies, ships, and the like. It's just one idea, but it definitely solves a number of problems we're going to encounter in the next few centuries. The scariest thing to me is thinking that aliens want nothing to do with us. I don't get why everyone thinks that aliens would attack us immediately. It's one thing if we come into their territory, but if they stumble upon us we're most likely safe. Them finding us would mean they are incredibly advanced. Anything they could get by attacking Earth, they could get far easier by harvesting it from a different planet in our solar system. Unless they feed specifically on brainwaves, it isn't worth the hassle to attack a planet teeming with life. They may have some weapons, however primitive, that might be used against you. It's far more frightening to believe that aliens will one day discover us and won't be interested. They won't want us on their intergalactic councils, they won't want to give us medicine, they won't want to form any bond. If they decide to just leave humanity alone, that means either they have decided we are not worth saving, or that we are too close to destruction to be worth the resources. There are lots of explanations for why we haven't heard from an intelligent species. It may be that they are observing us with devices we can't detect, and they don't think we're ready to meet them, and they're right about that. They may just be hanging out with other, similarly advanced species, and we're not interesting enough for them to bother with. They may communicate in a way that we haven't discovered yet, and they're bombarding our planet with messages that we don't know how to detect. One scientist proposed that the oldest star systems in our galaxy may have been bombarded with gamma rays in the early years of our galaxy's existence, so intelligent life on those planets didn't get the head start that we thought they would have had, and the first intelligent life is evolving in the later formed solar systems like ours, in which case the other intelligent species in the galaxy are just as dumb as we are, or at least not sufficiently advanced to travel among the stars. Maybe they have visited us. Maybe out of the bajillion UFO sightings that were ordinary terrestrial phenomenon, hoaxes, or the hallucinations of people on drugs, one or two of those sightings were of an actual alien spaceship, and they were written off as hoaxes, etc. Maybe intelligent life did evolve in the earliest formed solar systems in our galaxy, and they did travel among the stars, but after billions of years of existence they became extinct or evolved into something so far beyond us that they are beyond communicating with our simple minds. This is my favorite answer. Not the visceral, obvious fear of, they want to eat/enslave/colonize us. No, the scariest thing about alien life is that we just haven't heard from any of it. Which means we might actually be completely alone. We're the last human species left, the last creature on Earth who could be smart enough to leave our home planet. The scariest thought is that we're still nowhere close to leaving. And there's nothing out there to help us. Just a cold, unfeeling, empty universe. They might not have orifices for eating or pooping. Hear me out. Almost all life on Earth is topologically equivalent to a donut. Meaning we have an outside wall and an inside wall, digestive and respiratory tract, that runs like a hole through us, and our important bits are sandwiched between these walls. One of the only examples of life that isn't like that would be, for example, single-celled organisms, amoebas and such, which just kind of ooze over whatever they acquire sustenance from and osmose it into themselves. Currently on Earth only microorganisms are like that, also some weird ocean creatures. But there are fossils dating from before the Cambrian explosion from millions of years ago which hint that a completely different type of large and complex organisms might have evolved to walk the Earth before that evolutionary lineage was wiped out by an asteroid or the like. One of the oldest of these rare fossils is of a zero-orificed creature that was about a meter long. We don't have a lot of info from life during that age, but it indicates there may have been an entire evolutionary track of complex life forms favoring life that is topologically equivalent to ball instead of donut. And that's on Earth. So, yeah. We could very well find an entire planet of giant, oozy amoebas of assorted species and intelligence, who neither eat, speak, or shit like we do. Just try figuring out how to breach that cultural and language barrier. We are only an intelligent species because we define ourselves that way. Think of it, there is only a 1% difference in DNA between chimps and us. Meanwhile, the difference in intelligence is huge. We are exploring the cosmos with our advanced telescopes. Meanwhile, the smartest chimp is stacking up rocks. Now think of an alien species that has a 1% DNA difference with us lining the other way. Their simplest thoughts would be too complicated for us. The smartest person on Earth would be like a chimp stacking up rocks for them. Now think of a species with another 1% difference. We wouldn't even be like ants walking on the floor to them, we would be less than that. And you could go on like that, 10%, 20%, 30%, etc. What would we be? So insignificant that no one in the cosmos would consider making contact with us? Is the truth of the cosmos and reality actually really simple, but we are just too stupid? Like expecting ants walking on a football field to understand what's going on the field? Do we not know what we don't know? The dark forest theory kinda freaks me out. The universe is a dark forest. Every civilization is an armed hunter stalking through the trees like a ghost, gently pushing aside branches that block the path and trying to tread without sound. Even breathing is done with care. The hunter has to be careful, because everywhere in the forest are stealthy hunters like him. If he finds another life, another hunter, angel, or a demon, a delicate infant to tottering old man, a fairy or demigod, there's only one thing he can do: open fire and eliminate them. I remember reading a short sci-fi story in an old 2000 AD comic book where a massive army of humans was cruising through the galaxy, conquering every planet with intelligent life they came across. It took centuries, so I assume every child born was just raised to be a soldier. Fast forward a bit and the army comes across a beautiful planet, occupied by artists, musicians, actors and poets. Almost zero pollution. Everyone on the planet is pretty lazy and chill. No armies exist because the world is at peace. The army finds these people despicable and starts slaughtering them by the droves. When suddenly, they see the world flies the exact same flags and banners as the army. They had returned to their own planet. Earth. Seriously, what exactly does Earth have that any alien might want? Water? There are trillions upon trillions of cubic miles of it floating around in space. You're likely to find water around nearly every star in the galaxy. It would be far easier to get it elsewhere than it is to haul ours out of the gravity well. Minerals? Elements? Chemical compounds? Again, trillions of tons of much more easily accessed elsewhere, or easily mass-produced using the near-infinite raw materials and energy found all around the galaxy. How about human labor? Delicate, easily killed, has to be fed, watered, needs to rest at least a third of its life. Intractable, stupid, devious, rebellious. Long, slow process to cultivate and educate. Certainly any race that can span the distance between stars can find better alternatives. Our technology? Don't make me laugh. The only thing this planet has that is unique to it is the fauna and flora itself. Our only value is as a nature preserve. Which means we are wrecking the only value our planet has to the universe. If anything at all, the only reason why aliens would come here would be to stop the destruction, probably by wiping out 99% of the species, doing the most damage. We don't know what life looks like. Our theory of life strictly applies to Earth-based organisms, and the moment we actually discover any form of extraterrestrial life, that theory is going to fly out the window. For all we know, we could be surrounded by alien life and not even know it. Maybe the stars are actually a plasma-based species that conquered the universe long ago, or there are sentient rocks that colonized all of the terrestrial planets. Maybe every hydrogen atom is actually capable of advanced communication, art, and curiosity, but we can't recognize it because we don't know what to look for. I'm not saying any of those are true or that you should believe them, you shouldn't, but it just barely opens up the idea of how ignorant our thought process is. For us, if it doesn't walk and talk or send radio signals, then it isn't an alien. Maybe finding extraterrestrial life is easy and we've already come across it a million times over just in this century, but we wouldn't know because we aren't looking for life, we're looking for humans from space. We struggle enough with terrestrial diseases and infections. If extraterrestrial beings came to this daft little planet we live on without ill will, the diseases they would bring. Similar to what could happen with non-contact tribes like the Sentinelese. They'd had no exposure to some of the modern-day diseases and just one person could kill them all without meaning to or knowing, simply because they carry an infection, virus, or disease. Our immunity has evolved and adapted to common diseases and, as the human race, we've worked to help people become immune to not-so-common diseases. As proven by SARS-CoV-2, all it takes is something novel, aka new, previously unknown, to wreak havoc on the human race. We may not be able to mobilize our collective medical knowledge with speed, if we can even identify and work towards a cure with current terrestrial technology, before it infects and possibly kills the human race. All just because some crazy little, or large, idiot just wanted to say hi.